Eugenio Corecco has contributed greatly to key issues of canon law legal theory. We might not agree with all of his answers, but we might nevertheless acknowledge that he poses very important questions. Just to mention one example, the debate about what is truth. What is truth with regard to the law in comparison to matters of truth with regard to religion, with regard to the faith. Is there a difference between the truth of the law and the truth of the faith? Well, most legal scholars, also most religious scholars and theologians would say, yeah, there's a profound difference. There's really a huge gap, maybe even an unbridgeable gap between the truth of the law and the truth of the faith. Corecco objected, at least with regard to canon law. For him, canon law was a medium, or was understood, he understood it as a medium for realizing, for experiencing the truth of the faith. So the law, according to his considerations, has a share in the truth of the word and the sacrament. So canon law, as he understood it, is a theological reality incarnating, if you want to use this theological metaphor, dogmatic truth, a medium of conveying the truth of the faith. So in consequence, he understood a huge gap between the concepts of law as used in church and as used in the state. And he would not, for example, understand canon law in difference, unlike secular law, as a merely human construct, but as a legal system, a legal body going way deeper than just human cultural production. Therefore, canon law studies for him was a theological discipline, which is formally, I think, quite indisputable if you study some academic cultures such as Germany, where canon law is part of the discipline's theological faculty. So formally it's quite clear that canon law is theology, where we still might discuss what that means materially. If we really understand canon law truly as a theological discipline, not just formally, but really with regard to its content, with regard to its methods. What does it mean for this discipline? I think that have been many good answers to this question, but it's an ongoing debate, of course. What does it mean if you truly understand a legal discipline as something conveying theological knowledge, contributing to theological knowledge? So, while we might not agree with all of Corecco's answers, as I said in the beginning, we might acknowledge that he poses very good questions, but also gives us, problems connected with his approach. So one example, if we really understand the law as a matter conveying religious meaning, then we evidently encounter a problem that Corecco was grappling with as well, the problem of legal certainty. So state law is essentially based on legal certainty, and Corecco thought, well, canon law, if it's really a legal system, a legal body in service of salvation, in service of the truth, then there might arise conflicts with legal certainty, in which he thought it might be wise, adequate, to sacrifice legal certainty to protect basically salvation. So in those cases in which there's a deep conflict between the law with justice, with salvation, legal certainty has to step back. For Corecco, and that's, I think, the specificity of his approach, these were not just singular, random cases where this could happen, but he really understood the fundamental structure of canon law as so essentially connected with salvation and with the truth of the faith, that he saw really no stable place for legal certainty in the church, unlike in secular legal systems. So he came up with two concepts of the law with regard to the state and the church. So the concept law really falls into two, if you follow him in this respect, and I think that's very problematic on several levels. One key and core problem connected with this approach would be what do we do with the problem that legal certainty is also a demand of justice? So sacrificing legal certainty is also something that provides a high level of uncertainty and also of injustice for legal communities. So how do we deal with this problem that you cannot really say, I have to give up legal certainty to protect justice? It might be in some cases, but at the same time, if you do so, sacrifice the demand of justice that actually is protected by legal certainty. The law is confronted with arbitrariness, with the problem of arbitrariness if you do it that way, even up to the point, as one could argue, that the character of law as law is jeopardized as an invitation to despotic legal decisions. Singular authorities really can step up and put their decisions in the place of the law, replacing law by arbitrary or despotic legal decision making. It's a huge problem. We might also epistemologically argue that who argues in that way, really understanding law, a dual concept of law, a different concept of law as used with regard to state law and with regard to religious law, such as canon law. We basically come up with different epistemic bases of state and ecclesiastical legal knowledge. We understand as the epistemic principle of state law freedom, and understand as the epistemic principle of law truth, according to Corecco at least. Then we basically have two separated fields of legal knowledge produced by state law and by religious law, canon law, and that's epistemologically really a debatable position. So long story short, I think what we can see is that Corecco really is still posing very good questions to academics, really gives food for thought, particularly for the debates in ecclesiastical legal theory. It's a very important contribution to 20th century canon law studies, particularly to scientific theory and methodology. I profited a lot from studying Corecco, as I said, not really taking solutions from him or really liking or embracing all of his answers, but really seeing that he hands us very good questions and really points to key and crucial issues of ecclesiastical legal theory, where there's an ongoing, probably never-ending debate, which he really stimulated as an important voice of canon law in the 20th century.